In 1628, Sweden was an international power. Its empire stretched around most of the Baltic Sea coast, and it was becoming involved in what would become, I think, the 30 Years' War. The Swedish king, Gustav Adolphus, shown here, depended on the navy for his power, and to improve it, he commissioned the largest and grandest warship of the time to be built. It would be called the Vasa. It was a project of enormous magnitude, and it was his consuming passion. The Vasa's hull was built from 1,000 oak trees. It carried 64 large guns. It was 69 meters long. Its masts were 50 meters high. It dwarfed any other ship at the time. It was covered with gold leaf on its sculptures and painted artwork. Gustav Adolphus searched the world for the best ship designers he could find. He picked a Dutchman, Henrik Ibertsen, as the builder. But the king took a personal interest in the design as well. He insisted, for example, that the Vasa have an extra deck above the waterline, a third deck, so it would be even more majestic and comfortable. And he wanted to make room for 64 guns, more than any other ship had been carrying. Those innovations made it very unstable. The emperor's innovations went beyond the knowledge base of the shipbuilders of his time. Several days before the Vasa was launched, in fact, they ran a stability test. They had 30 sailors run from beam to beam across the top deck of the ship, and they had to stop the test because the ship almost capsized when 30 sailors did that. Whether or not anyone told the king isn't clear. He didn't seem to be that kind of king. When the Vasa was launched in August of 1628, it was in Stockholm Harbor. There was full view of most of the residents of Stockholm who were gathered on the wharfs. It sailed a mile. Then a gust of wind hit it. It tipped over to one side, it flooded, and it sank to the bottom of Stockholm Harbor. And it laid there for 333 years, and then in 1961 the Swedes raised it. You've heard the expression, every defect is a treasure. The Swedes have carried this to an extreme. They've built a museum around the Vasa, and it's now one of the main tourist attractions in Scandinavia. Silly Gustav Adolphus. He didn't know when to stop. He tried to produce a breakthrough, and instead he got a disaster. Lesson learned. But wait a minute. Not all our dreams sink to the bottom of the harbor. If we focus on failure, that can be a formula for prudence, but it could be an excuse for timidity. And I want to flip the story around for you. I want to look at a couple of successes, Vasas that floated. Let me give you two examples.